So we get an overlook of all the skills. I'm not going to stop and look at every single skill, but basically they give you some ideas for failure, right? What might have happened if you failed. This is good for the GM. And then stunts, which in this game are like Tales from the Loop. If you get additional successes, you might get some additional bonuses that are narrative or mechanical. You do the heavy machinery thing, and you get to spend a bonus success to do it quietly or do it fast. Right? Yeah, those kinds of things. So we got heavy machinery, we got stamina, we got close combat, we got mobility, we got piloting, we got ranged combat. So this is group stealth. This is an issue in some role-playing games. When you and other characters in a group sneak side by side, don't make individual rolls. Whoever has the worst mobility, they roll. Why doesn't every game that does stealth do this? Stealth is not a group roll. I guess if you are trying to stay hidden while your friends are sneaking, it's whoever fails gets caught. But I think this is a nice way to do that. Just don't everybody roll. Just whoever is the worst, assuming you're all trying to hide from the same thing. If you have an agenda where you're like, I would actually like to roll independently because I don't care if they get caught, I'm not part of the group. That's an interesting way to kind of make that statement. So ranged combat. I did want to point out that one stunt in ranged combat that I quite like is that if you get a stunt and you can spend it, you can redraw your initiative score. So you can, if you don't like where you are in the initiative order and you get a crit basically on ranged combat, you can be like, cool, I'm going to go faster next turn. So that's kind of cool. I kind of like that. Observation, which is our perception skill. Same thing. The highest observation just rolls and applies to the whole group because everybody's going to do that anyway. Comtech, which is programming, hacking, computer shit. Survival, manipulation. If you want to manipulate a whole group, you make an oratory roll, basically. Command, medical aid. I like that manipulation gives you some modifiers based on whether or not you are likely to manipulate them or not. And then the same thing, manipulation is not mind control. You don't take control of their mind. You're trying to convince them that they should do something, not force them to do it. Now, there isn't a lot of kind of back and forth, like agreement or disagreement stuff in Alien, except when it is a group trying to decide what to do. So it's nice that they bring it up. There are occasionally I think if I think about it, the social structure of Alien is the command structure, right? Who's supposed to be in charge versus who's actually in charge. And then trying to convince people not to let other people on board a ship when they're clearly they've got a parasite in them. And honestly, I feel like that's an auto fail. Anyone trying to convince anyone to do that, I feel like pretty much just automatically fails because that's just how it goes. Maybe there's a difficulty modifier for that roll. But I do like if you're trying to negotiate position with somebody and you're talking over a distance or over radio, you get a -1 if you're not face to face with them. Isn't that cool? That's a nice little touch. So those are the skills. Let's talk about combat and panic. Let's talk about combat and panic. So conflict in the Alien RPG is played out using a map of the colony, starship, or whatever location your characters happen to be in. A map is divided into zones. A zone is usually a room, a corridor. It's like a discrete area. So Hadley's Hope is broken into zones. The machine shop is a zone. The corridors underneath are a zone. The starport is a zone. Whatever, right? You can play without maps and let conflicts play out with theater of the mind if you want to. Maps are there for positioning. The border between two adjacent zones is open or blocked. Is there a wall between here and there? Right? We measure time in rounds, turns, and shifts. Oh, that's cute. Oh, that's so cute. So a round is 5 to 10 seconds. A turn is 5 to 10 minutes. a shift is 5 to 10 hours. You get to recover at the end of a shift. Oh, I like that. That's really good. That's really good language. There are 4 shifts: morning shift, day shift, evening shift, and night shift. Right, because we could be in space, we could be on a planet, we don't actually know. That's really great. Very clever. Nice work. So primarily, combat is divided into rounds. Stealth is divided into turns. Remember, we check air and stuff on turns, right? Air and food and that kind of thing is on turns. And then shift allows us to recovery. The GM's job is to tell us when a round, turn, or shift has passed. And then zones have features. They can be cluttered, dark, or cramped. And then there are range categories: arm's length, near, short, long, or extreme. And this is about zones. How many zones apart can you be? And then it approximates zones into numbers. Clever. Clever. So obviously in Alien, not so much in Aliens, there is an aspect of stealth, right? Hiding, running, getting away from an alien, and then not having the alien find you. So enemy movement is secret, right? They can only move 2 zones per turn. It's like, do you ever play that? What was that? I think it's an Italian board game. It's called Escape from the Aliens in Outer Space. It is a very good board game, and the whole point of the board game is about escaping from an alien in outer space. It's kind of like Battleship. It's a very, very good design. Check it out if you like this stuff. Look into it. But in this, in stealth mode, you automatically detect passive enemies in the same zone or in line of sight. If you make no attempt to move quietly, passive enemies automatically detect you as well. Draw initiative. If you want to sneak past a passive enemy undetected or make a sneak attack, roll for mobility against their observation. Active enemies nearby may try to sneak up on you for a sneak attack. If so, the GM informs you a threat is moving on you, then rolls mobility against your observation. If you fail, they get a free attack on you. Basically, stealth mode leads up to combat, and then if you break combat, you might be able to get back into stealth mode. And to handle NPC movement, the GM has a second copy of the conflict map hidden from the GM or from the players. Oh, that's so cool. So what you would do, what I would do, because I'd be playing this in Roll20, is I'd have the alien on the GM layer. And so as the players are like, all right, here we go. What we got to do is we got to open this airlock. We got to run through the cargo area as fast as we can, and we got to get into the computer core. Now, I know that the alien has moved from the cargo area into the ducts and has access to the computer core. But the players don't know that because I have my alien token on the GM layer of the same shared map. You can also write down, right now the alien is here. And then during this turn, players, what are you doing? So they're going to be like, all right, we're going to gather up our gear. We're going to take a turn to get ready. So I say, all right, in secret, the alien moves 2 zones. The alien moves from the cargo hold into the ventilation, and from the ventilation into the computer core. Oh my God, and this is how motion detectors probably work. A motion detector probably allows you to know where your enemy is, even if you don't have line of sight to them. That is so cool. Oh, that's really cool. Fucking there it is, right on the next page. You can use a motion tracker once per turn, make a power supply roll, and automatically detect the presence of any large moving object within long range indoors and extreme range outdoors. They will mark a ping of motion on the tracker map. Oh, that's so fucking cool. And you can only use it so many times because it has a battery and it powers down. So you could be like, guys, we've only got one more power supply roll. I can either run the motion tracker one more time, or we can keep the turret going. What are we going to do? Do we risk it? Do we make the power roll? And if you fail the power roll, it's like, the battery runs out. Fuck, now we don't know where the alien is. Oh, that's very cool. Ooh, I'm excited. That's very, very cool. Yeah. I'm really curious about this. And then when the enemy is revealed, stealth mode is over, and you stop counting turns and start counting rounds. Determine who has the initiative, And away you go. So you grab 10 cards. We use a card deck to draw initiative, numbered 1 through 10. There are custom alien cards for that, but we could make a deck in Roll20. I hope that, like Star Trek, there's a custom Roll20 pack that you can buy that includes all of these like Gugas, right? Like the dice and the cards and stuff. That'd be really cool. Yeah. So if you don't have access to the card deck, you can just count A's through 10. Anyone in it draws a card. The GM draws 1 card for each NPC. It's called Drawing Initiative. Number 1 acts first. Number 2 acts second. Oh, this is Moldve Initiative. Did anybody roll an 8? Anybody roll a 7? Anybody roll a 6? 5s? 4s? 3s? Okay, who goes on 2? If you got a 2 and you don't like it, you can spend your successes to bump yourself up. There are 2 kinds of actions, slow and fast. You get 1 slow action, 1 fast action, or 2 fast actions. You describe your action and then make it. Some actions give your opponent the opportunity to react. Let's see what the actions are. Crawl, close combat, shoot a gun, fire a burst, throw a weapon, reload, first aid, stop panic. Prerequisite, a panicking character. Oh, so this is like you grab, say you have an ally who's like in full on Bill Paxton mode. It's Bill Paxton, right? It's not Bill Pullman. It's Bill Paxton. Bill Pullman was the president. Bill Paxton is the one that got killed by a Terminator and an alien. And you slap them and you're like, get it together, Marine. Yeah. So it's first aid of the mind, right? Persuade is a slow action, entering and exiting a vehicle or starting an engine. I honestly, like, I love the idea of playing a character who's freaking out. That feels really fun to me. In the same way that I like Pendragon, where Pendragon says to you, your character is too chaste to do this action. I love when an RPG tells me what my character is doing and then getting to play that out. I feel like it's a challenge, right? So when the game says, all right, you have your pulse rifle, you have your flamethrower, you have your rocket launcher, but your mind is broken. What do? I would be like, okay, what do I know about my character? Am I violent? Am I overcompensating with all this weaponry? How do I react? Do I run? Do I turn my back on the alien and run? Do I get up and scream and just run up shooting my guns at them? Like, how do I respond to my panic? And I love that the game allows you to make suboptimal. It encourages and nay demands you make suboptimal choices, right? In Alien, in this game, if someone panicked and they said their character, they said, my character gets up and I start just hosing the hallway with my bullets, and someone else says, don't do that. I'm down at the end of the hall trying to hack this door. And you're like, sorry, I panicked. I feel like it's less, if you can point to the game and say the game made me do it, you get to have these situations where you're like, uh-oh, I accidentally machine gun you because I'm panicking. It's nice to be able to say, I'm not mad at you, fellow player, for making that decision. And it reinforces that thing that we were told before, that our characters are not us. We are making decisions for them. And it almost like defangs the Nuremberg defense of gaming, right? If we are all playing our characters to our own secret agenda, we all know this is the thing on the table at the beginning. We are now allowed to play our characters like assholes, like morons. We are allowed to play them dangerous and unstable. Yeah, I like that. That's pretty cool. Nice. So, reactive actions such as blocking, taking cover, and Overwatch break the initiative order. It can be hard to keep track. Tap your initiative card for every performed action. Turn to the left for the fast action, right for the slow action. Oh, right, because you do things that allow you to change your initiative order, right? I take Overwatch, and as soon as I see someone come out into the hallway, I blast them. I blast them with my machine gun. Yeah. Well, so that's, if you're not familiar with the term, just quickly going back to the Nuremberg defensive gaming thing, there's an essay in the second or revised edition Vampire Player's Guide. I want to say it's by Greg Stolze, but it might be by someone else, called The Nuremberg Defense of Gaming. And basically, it's that thing you do where you make a character who is an asshole, and then when you do shitty things that make the game not fun for other people, you point at your character and say, I'm not an asshole. My character made me do this. I'm just trying to play my guy. My guy is ruining your fun. Don't look at me. Adam is great and cool. I'm still your friend. I can't control him when he gets like this, right? And the idea of that essay is that that's horseshit and that you are responsible for your character. But this game sets out in the premise, play your character like they would do stupid things. And if we all agree to that by playing this game and agreeing to the rules of this game, it allows you to be like, well, I guess you found out I'm an android. I'm going to kill you with this rolled up newspaper, right? And that doesn't feel like a dick move. Or like, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and flip all the switches that self-destruct the ship while you're on your away mission because everybody is doing what their character would do, and some of us have some bad things we need to accomplish. Yeah, so it allows you to play a character who is an asshole or an idiot or a panicky moron, and not have it ruin everyone's fun because that's part of the fun we all agreed to. Interesting. Okay, so there's a bunch of little minutia here about like how to help people, mechanical stuff, how to do ambushes and sneak attacks. I'm not super interested in digging into the details of this because they're not kind of what I look for in a first look, but they're interesting and they're part of the game, so that's cool. We talked a little bit about resolution before. Close combat, there is a degree of back and forth in that, right, where you're blocking or fighting. I feel like getting attacked in close combat is important if you're a human, but if you are attacked by an alien in close combat, probably you're getting mutilated. I imagine that the stats of the aliens, of the Xenomorphs, are pretty high. Yeah. So shooting at someone, firing at large targets, this is all like basic mechanical stuff. I did notice this on my first, I did a quick flip through without looking at any of the rules in any depth. I noticed something I wanted to point out. Check this out. Weapons listed as fully automatic can fire long bursts of full auto fire. This counts as a normal range attack, but with a few differences. It's easier to hit. Your stress level immediately increases. Short controlled bursts. Short controlled bursts, guys. I love the idea that as soon as you flip to full auto, you just start stressing yourself out. Like that's such a great little like thematic choice. And it means because you can only blow out your clip on a stress die, it means that even your first fully automatic fire could blow out the rest of your ammo, right? Yeah, the spray and pray, it'll freak you out a little. You might be able to hit a bunch of targets, but you immediately get stressed out and you might empty your gun and trigger a panic roll, which I think is quite cool. So Overwatch is, as long as you have a ranged weapon and nobody's up in your face, you can fire whenever you want during the turn order, and you resolve your turn before anything happens, and there's like a trigger for your Overwatch. You can keep Overwatch as long as you want, but do nothing. If you perform any other action, you lose Overwatch, or if you suffer damage or get hit in close combat. I played Space Beast Terror Freight a couple of times with Andrew and with John. I think we streamed it, actually. It was pretty fun. Yeah. So let's talk about getting fucked up by aliens. In this game, you have a health score equal to your strength. Oh, yeah, that's right, Dave. We managed to get a 4-player game going. That's right. So you have health equal to your strength. You have armor that, what does it do? Oh, you roll armor. Roll armor in each 6 reduces damage by 1 point. When you are no longer broken, you recover 1 health per turn, which is every 5 minutes. Critical injuries affect you after your health is restored. And if you drop to 0 health, you're broken, you're out of the action, you roll a critical injury, and if you're not dead, you can crawl and mumble but do nothing else. Any further damage takes another crit. Being broken is not fatal itself. Only critical injuries can actually kill you. There's 2 ways to get up. First aid or on your own after a turn. A broken character is defenseless. Oh my god, this is so cool. Okay. A broken character is defenseless. If it is a human being and you want to kill your target outright, you must fail an empathy roll. Whether or not you succeed, increase your stress level by 1. Killing in cold blood is just not that easy. If you have the cold-blooded talent, you can kill defenseless enemies without negative effect. That is so cool! Because as soon as you have cold-blooded on your sheet, you know you're looking for people to coup de grace, right? Like, you can't do it unless you're already cold-blooded, and no matter whether you succeed or not, you gain a stress level, and you have to fail an empathy roll to do it. So it's like the corporate stooge who you know betrayed you is over there bleeding out, and all you have to do is walk over there and shoot him in the face. All right, I make my empathy roll. I fail. Awesome. I walk over there. See you later. Blast him in the face. Take a level of stress. Now I'm more likely to panic later because of this thing. Or, and this is what's great, is the only time you have to fail the empathy roll is killing your target outright. So this is where if the captain isn't cold-blooded, the captain looks at the corporate stooge bleeding out on the floor, turns to the cold-blooded soldier and says, "Cover our rear, Leon. The unit and I are going back to the ship. I give you a knowing nod. You know what I cannot do myself." I turn and walk away. And Leon says, "I take out my pistol." Right? Ooh. Oh, that's so cool. You don't have to walk away. You just have to do, you can't do it yourself, but you could get someone else to do it. You could just leave them to bleed to death, which means that the NPC is now in the hands of the GM, who could say somehow they survive, right? They crawl to a first aid kit and they heal themselves, right? But you cannot do it yourself unless you fail that thing. And that's why it's useful to have someone cold-blooded on your team unless you cross them. Like, that is the guy who's not to be fucked with. Yeah. And playing that character means that you can then offer to the captain, right? You can just be like, "Captain, just walk away." And the captain's like, "We can't just leave this man to die." And Leon's like, "Walk away, Captain. Just walk away. Let me handle it," right? Like, oh, that's so cool. It's such a great way to mechanize a character trait. Sick. Cool. All right. So as long as you have health left, damage represents fatigue or bruises or whatever, but critical injuries are maiming and killing. If you suffer a critical injury listed as fatal, you make a death roll. It is a roll for stamina that you cannot push. If it fails, you die. If you succeed, you linger, but have to make another death roll after the listed time runs out. To save your life, someone has to give you first aid before you fail a death roll. If you are broken and sustain a critical injury, 2 separate medical aid rolls need to get you back on your feet. There are 4 crits that kill you outright. Where's the critical hit table? I want to see what they are. Show me the critical hit table. Whatever, we'll get to it. Okay, so the death of a PC can feel like a bummer, but try not to see it as a failure. Consider it a dramatic peak in the story, a moment to remember, a fallen comrade to mourn, then get back into the situation. In cinematic scenarios, the GM will likely have another character or an NPC ready for you to play, right? Another Marine, which is actually really funny. The idea that there's Ripley, and there's Burke, there's Hicks, and then there's like all the other Marines. And then one person just keeps moving from Marine to Marine, where they're like, "Well, I guess I'll play Mendoza now." Or I guess I'll play, like, it's a group of Marines that are in the background doing stuff. And one player just keeps dying and picking up a new Marine to be like, "Haha, all right, Private Johnson here," right? Like, I'm ready to go. And you're like, "All right, cool. You died again. So now you're playing a different Marine with slightly..." Yeah, they just keep needing a new character as the crew gets possessed by a new person. I like that. That's good. So mounting stress level, characters are stressed out by pushing their rolls, suffering damage, going without sleep, food, or water, firing full auto. A scientist fails to analyze something. That stresses everyone out? What? A person is revealed to be an android, a member of your crew attacks you, or you encounter certain creatures or locations. That is so good. The scientist fails to analyze something, everyone gets a stress level. What is it? What is it? I don't know. I've never seen anything like this before. Bum, bum, bum. And everybody starts to freak out. That's so cool. And it could totally trigger like a panic attack, right? Where someone could like, oh, that's so good. Fucking awesome. Whenever you make a skill roll, you add a number of stress dice equal to your current stress. If you roll a face hugger, you have to make a panic roll. In order to keep your stress in check, as long as you keep your stress in check, you can use it to your advantage. That's right, because so the stress dice do actually have pluses on them. So the more stressed out you are, the more likely you are to both freak out and succeed. And I guess the idea is that as tension ramps up, you're more invested in the situation, and so you care more. You're driven more to succeed. If you roll one or more panic, you cannot push it, and panic roll is triggered. If a panic is triggered, a panic roll of 7 or higher, if the skill automatically fails, if that happens. If you witness someone else suffering from panic, your skills can fail, or you can trigger a panic roll. If you get a crit or are pinned down, if you encounter a strange alien creature you've never seen before, you have to make a panic roll. A truly horrifying event occurs. Yeah, the XCOM effect, right? Kane is sick. We're all eating in the mess hall. Kane grabs his chest, falls over on the table, starts freaking out. Okay, all right, medic, let's get in here and fix it. Kane's chest bursts open, blood sprays everywhere, and an alien entity erupts from it. Everybody make a panic roll. Okay, most of you succeeded, but one of you failed. They failed so hard, now somebody else panics, right? And everybody's freaking out. The alien escapes because no one can do it. Yeah, someone throws a grenade, someone panics, someone gets shot. I love that panic cascades. So, roll a d6, add your current stress level, compare the results to the table. If you suffer from a panic effect and are forced to make another panic roll normally. The new effect replaces the previous one. If it's lower, it's automatically adjusted to one step more severe. The career talent of the Colonial Marines, Overkill, oh god, lets you replace the effect of a panic result of 11 or higher by the Overkill effect if you have any enemies, real or imagined, in sight. When triggering Overkill, you must immediately attack your enemies and do not stop until you or all your enemies are broken. Also, all other PCs in near range make an immediate panic roll. You want to live forever? So instead of panicking, machismo kicks in and you just fucking start giving her, and everyone else around you panics, which, if they're also Marines, might trigger Overkill for them, where a group of people panicking will all freak out in different ways, but a group of Marines that panic all freak out in the same way. Oh, that's so good. If a scientist fails an analyze check, yeah, it could turn into a, yeah. Who's firing? God damn it. Hold your fire. Yeah, I love it. Some effects on the panic roll are immediate or last a round. Others remain effect until someone commands you to stop, you are broken, or a turn passes. For every full turn spent resting in a safe area, stress is reduced by 1 point. You cannot make any skill rolls while resting, and if your rest is interrupted, it doesn't count. A panic roll can also decrease stress, as well as certain drugs. Some conditions, such as starving or freezing, can block your ability to relieve stress. If you've rolled a 13 or higher, you must make an empathy roll after the session. Roll for the attribute only, no skill. If it succeeds, you develop a permanent mental trauma. Oh, because the higher your empathy, the more vulnerable you are to mental trauma. Oh, yeah, that totally makes sense. Well, let's see what panic does. Let's see what panic does to you. If you get 6 or less, you keep it together. So if you have a single die and you have one panic level, you've got a 5 in 6 chance of just keeping it together, right? Nervous twitch increases the stress level of you and everyone in near range by 1. Even the best result makes it harder to get a better result later. And remember, a panic roll is, let's see, a single d6. Okay, so even when you twitch, everyone around you starts getting like, whoa, calm down. What's going on? They start getting freaked out too. You start to tremble uncontrollably. All your agility is at -2. Your stress level goes up. Same with everyone else. You freeze. Stress level of everybody around you goes up by 1. You drop something and your stress level goes up. You have to use your next action to seek cover, or the realization you're all going to die anyway makes you just like duck and cover and hide. Your stress level is decreased, but everyone else freaks out a bit by 1. You scream your lungs out, losing your next point of action. Your stress level is decreased by 1, but everyone else has to immediately panic. Oh my God. That's so funny. Near range is like everyone within the same room as you, within the same zone. Near range is 1 zone. Like this hallway we are trying to protect, the command room, the bridge, or whatever. So I start screaming. I'm going to feel a little bit better. Everyone around me immediately has to make a panic roll. Maybe one of them is a Marine and they just start shooting people. Oh, it's so good. The panic cascade is so fun. You flee. Your stress level is decreased by 1, but everyone else who sees you run has to panic. Psychotic. You immediately attack the nearest person, friendly or not. You won't stop until they're broken or you are. Every friendly character immediately makes a panic roll. Oh, that's so good. So, like, you freak out. You just, like, start attacking the nearest person. The Marine that's supposed to be protecting you, they freak out. They shoot you. Oh, that's so good. Yeah, overkill is you attack your perceived enemy, right? It's not who's an actual enemy. The overkill step in replaces any result of 11 or higher by attacking any of your enemies, real or imagined. It's different from the psychotic result. Or 15 or higher, you go catatonic. You collapse and can't talk or move, staring blankly into oblivion. So this is when the alien queen emerges from her lair. Everyone makes panic rolls. Some of you freak out and start shooting her. Some people run away. Someone starts screaming. Someone just stands there waiting for death, right? As the queen lures in on him and kills him. Yeah. Stress levels are only for PCs. NPCs never make panic rolls. NPCs panic whenever the GM deems it appropriate. Good. Okay. Other hazards: starving, dehydrated, exhausted. These are the results of running out of your stuff. You mark them. They're conditions on your character sheet. Explosive decompression. If you miss firing a gun in a room next to a bulkhead, you inflict your damage on the bulkhead instead, and you might puncture the hull of the ship. If you're out in a vacuum, you have to make stamina rolls. You die very quickly in a vacuum. Falling automatically inflicts damage. Damage inflicts stress, right? No, the panic die doesn't explode. You're rolling a d6 and you're adding your current level of stress. So if I'm at 5 stress, I'm going to get between a 6 and an 11 every time I'm forced to make a panic roll. Yeah. Single die modified by how bad I already feel. Cool. All right. Diseases, freezing, explosion, fire, etc. Radiation, drowning, suffocation. If your supply of air runs out. You make a stamina roll every turn, which is every 5 minutes, or every time you make a strenuous activity. The first time you roll it is -1. A failed roll means you immediately drop to 0 health. Okay. You make death rolls because you're suffocating. Synthetic individuals instead have their own crit table. They cannot push. They do not suffer stress. If they're broken, they make a system a damage roll. They might rupture a fluid pump. They might have their leg servo destroyed. They might have an arm servo destroyed. Their head might be dislocated, or they might have a severe chassis breach. White stuff everywhere. Androids can't die. They can be reactivated to communicate with. It requires a power source, a turn of work, and a comtech roll. Cool. Here we go. Hello, baby. Hello. Now, my expectation is that a single Xenomorph must be very powerful to stand up in the action economy to multiple opponents. So, Xenomorphs act a number of times equal to their speed rating. You draw initiative one card for each point of speed they have. Each time they roll initiative, each time they get initiative, they perform one fast and one slow action. Most Xenomorphs attack only in close combat, at arm's length. Each time they attack, roll a d6 for their signature attack and resolve the effect. When a Xenomorph is reduced to 0 health, it isn't broken. The GM rolls a d6 on a special crit table. Most of them have a thick hide, giving them a natural armor rating. Some have special abilities beyond their signature attacks. Good. Okay, and I guess we'll look at them when we get to that point in the adventure, right? Because this isn't the full game. So weapons have a bonus modifier. They have damage. They have range. We won't dig too hard into weapons, but Jesus Christ, look at this enormous gun! Holy Christ! But basically, they just give you a bonus to hit. They give you a bonus to damage. They have a range. And they have an amount that they cost. So pretty standard stuff. We got our M4A3 service pistol. We got a huge pistol. We got whatever the fuck this nerdy gun is. There's a bolt gun. We have of course, the classic Armat M41A pulse rifle, which has full auto, armor piercing, and a bunch of damage. So that's cool. It costs $800. We have a phased plasma pulse rifle as well. That's our big gun. Costs $20,000. But yeah, this is basically like description of the weapon and what it has. And I love that the M41A has this huge paragraph because it's the most important piece of gear in the Alien universe. Yeah. So there it is. There's that bad boy. I think some of them have underbarrel grenade launchers as well. Or shotguns, underbarrel shotguns. Grappling gun. Heavy pulse rifle. Grenade launcher. Yeah. M240 incinerator unit. Oh, shit. The smart gun. That's the gyro-mounted, the big boy penis replacement. Yeah. Anyone ever mistake you for a man? Cool. And then we have close combat weapons. Personnel armor. Please tell me that that's a power loader. There it is. P5000 power loader. Heavy machinery and close combat +3. Hell yeah. Get them. So the thing about swords, Dave, in the Alien universe is severing or puncturing an alien at close combat, you're dead. They will spray you with their acid blood and you are dead. So I played, let me share with you a quick thing. When after Torchbearer came out, there's a hack. There's a really cool hack of Torchbearer called Colonial Marines, in which you play Colonial Marines. It's an alien simulator, and we were playing a game that was basically just the plot of Aliens, and there were 4 of us. 3 of us had seen Aliens, and so we were just goofing. We were just like being dumb and being macho and whatever. And then we had one person, and she'd never watched Aliens. She didn't know anything about Alien. And the GM at one point said, the alien that you shoot, this creature you shoot, runs off and leaves behind its blood. There's this dripping green blood. And the player who had never seen Alien before was like, oh, interesting. Well, I'm like a biologist. I'm going to go up and I'm going to taste it. I'm going to taste the blood, right? And we were all like, no, don't do it. Oh, God. And she was just like, yeah, I just go ahead. I got my gloves on. So I'm just going to like dip my finger in the blood. And I'm going to, like, give it a little smell, a little taste. And he's like, oh, you don't get it to your mouth. Your glove starts to dissolve. And then your fingers start to dissolve. And we were just like, everybody's freaking out. It was a whole thing. It was pretty funny. And then later, like a year later, she watched Aliens and then was like, hey, so I understand now why you were all being such macho jerks. I didn't understand, but now I do. Yep. So yeah, there you go. So a bunch of computer equipment, things that computers can do, some vision devices, right? Motion tracker, scopes, head-mounted sights, neurovisors, etc. So that's cool. Medical supplies, pharmaceuticals, which is useful. You got to do drugs if you want to stay alive. Food and drink, which actually matters in this setting, right? Matters mechanically. And then we have Chariot of the Gods, which is our pre-gen solution. This is how we play cinematic mode. Do we have combat drugs? You want me to check? Yeah. Let's see. Pharmaceuticals, never sleep pills, hydration pills, nap relieve, which is pain reliever, recreational drugs, and X drugs that increase strength, endurance, and the senses. So there you go. There's your X drugs. There's your... The Colonial Marines were rumored to be experimenting with new powerful X stims for its soldiers, and some unscrupulous companies quietly supply their workers with similar illegal stimulants. Yep. Cool. Horror in tabletop RPGs are a cooperative thing, and this game absolutely approaches it as dramatic irony, where everyone knows we are playing an alien game and that we are smarter than our characters. And Nabros, at the beginning of the review, the game walks you through how to prioritize that, like how to play to that thing. So you play your character as being a different person than you. Yeah. It's quite interesting. Each drink reduces your stress level by 1, but gives you a -1 modification to all wits-based skills for the next shift. So you can actually get wasted to reduce your stress level. Perfect. All right, so let's look at Chariots of the Gods and see what it looks like as a scenario. It's meant for 3 to 5 players plus the GM and takes 4 to 5 hours to complete. It is a cinematic scenario designed to introduce players to the game and take them on a terrifying thrill ride. The setup is familiar. A freighter intercepts a distress signal in the middle of deep space. The company orders the crew to investigate. Finding a derelict ship, they discover an alien life form that tries to kill them, and a member of the crew has an agenda to protect it. It's the plot of Alien. I will say this. I think it's cute that the GM of this game is called Mother. Right, named after the UI, right? For Mother's Eyes only. Players should not read the scenario to avoid spilling the details of the mystery. So, you get the crew of the USCSS Montero Star Freighter. You get filled-in character sheets for them. If you have fewer than 5 players, the leftover crew members are NPCs. Once they've chosen their starting PCs, read them the box text, and then show them the map of the ship. If anybody dies, you can use NPCs from the crew of the Cronus or the Sotio to stand in. They start with no personal gear except signature items. They can distribute the gear on the Montero as Captain Miller sees fit. So let me take a look. Okay, let's talk about personal agendas. So each character has a personal agenda for each act. Oh, fucking cool. There are secret agendas for each act, and there's a secret android in the crew. Whoa. So you're going to pick your character based on your starting agenda, which means everyone in the group can see everybody's starting agenda, but one of you might have a second act or a third act agenda that is different. You might be like, oh, wait a second, I'm the corporate stooge. It gets a little Battlestar Galactica, right? Yeah. Cool. So you get handouts for all of this stuff. Very cool. At the end of each act, collect the agendas, evaluate them, announce that, reduce stress level, and award victory points. Don't reveal the actual agendas. So just read them and be like, Captain Miller, you achieved your agenda. Officer Wainwright, you got yours. Everyone else, keep trying. That's super cool. Okay. One of the crew members is a synthetic undercover agent. When you hand out the personal agendas, replace the chosen PC's agenda with the secret one instead. Oh, but it's not preset. That's so cool. One of the characters is an android, but it doesn't matter, and it can change depending on who you think would be fun as a secret android. Oh my God, that's so good. It's not a separate character sheet. It's just, here's your agenda. You're an android. Oh, that's so cool. To avoid detection, Lucas mimics human behavior As long as Lucas is not exposed, use human rules, pushing, gaining stress, making panic rolls. But if Lucas is revealed, switch them to the android rules. Meaning they get a +2 to their strength, +2 to their agility. Oh, and that means that they have to pretend to be human until they're hurt, meaning they pretend to freak out. Oh, that's so cool. Revealing Lucas as an android has a high risk of triggering direct confrontation with other PCs. If it happens, play out the current scene and then turn Lucas into an NPC like normal. That's very cool. All right, so this is the scenario. We don't need to read through the scenario's details. I do want to look at the characters, but I'm going to leave the details off in case you want to play by yourself or in case I want to run a show. So, Officer Miller, who has... Okay, here we go. Here's our answer. So the officer... is an ability. Miller is thrifty. She's got pull rank, which means she can command other people to do stuff. You roll command against their manipulation. If you're successful, they have to follow your order, even if it means harm or danger to themselves. Your stress level increases every time you do this. Okay. She's buddies with Davis and rivals with Wilson, and has a strength of 4, agility of 3, wits of 2, and an empathy of 5. Okay, all right. Davis, which is her buddy, is the pilot. She is reckless. She's an adrenaline junkie, and she can push any skill roll based on agility twice if she wants to. She has an empty pill bottle. She has no rival, and her buddy is Miller, so they're buddies. Okay. Roughneck Rye. Full name, Kayla Rye. Oh, that's cute. Roughneck Rye. Has true grit. The roughneck is a skill, right? So we got Davis the pilot, Miller the officer, Roughneck Rye, whose name is Kayla. Push any strength skill roll twice. And is rivals with Miller. Doesn't like the captain very much, but is buddies with Cham. And she is a technician. So she's got heavy machinery, comtech, and carries around a worn photo of her brother. And then another roughneck, Cham, has the same skill, and his name is Lyron Cham. He's loyal, and he has a rosary, and his buddies with Rye. Okay. Wilson, the company agent, John J. Wilson, has personal safety. For a company agent, the interests of the company come first, no matter what. This means your own safety is more important than the other crew members. If you are attacked or otherwise end up in fatal danger, and if another PC is in near range, you can make a manipulate roll. If you succeed, they suffer the attack instead of you. Oh, that's so good. Unfortunately, the alien leaps towards me. I throw myself behind Captain Miller. Captain Miller, the alien mangles you instead of me. Sorry. What a piece of shit. That's perfect. I love it. Cool. So those are the character options. One of them, Miller, Davis, Rye, Cham, or Wilson. One of them is a synth. One of them is an android. And then that's the mission. Hold on. I'm gonna skip to the end. I'm gonna skip through the map and through all the other stuff. There's some NPCs and whatever. I don't want to spoil any of this for you in case you want to play it yourself. But I do want to take a look. at the bad guys. Let me look at the bad guys here. Wow, there's a lot of cool shit in this. All right. So, oh, that's cute. Okay, so I'm going to read this for you. So, okay. After it's all over, evaluate how well the players followed their PC's personal agenda for the third act and hand out a victory point to each player who did. Then have all the players reveal their personal agenda for the scenario if they wish and have a debriefing session. This can be very fun. Finally, the player with the most victory points is dubbed the winner and is rewarded the option of choosing their PC first the next time you play the Alien role-playing game. Break ties with a random dice roll. One of the PCs, assuming a PC is still alive, should epilogue the game with a final report The subsection of this header is called signing off. Oh, that's so good. It also gives them box text if they don't want to make up their own. It has like a little box text they can read. Oh, that's so cool. And then there's all the agendas. Aha. Appendix 2. The Xenomorphs. All right, let's take a look at the Xenomorphs. Let's end on the eponymous monster, the thing that matters most. A range of different Xenomorphs are described in full in the Alien role-playing game. In combat, Xenomorphs follow special rules. They have a speed rating, which no one else does, and they have significant special attacks. Xenomorphs are often much faster than humans. They can move 2 zones per point of speed. Holy shit. So if they have a speed of 3, and you know that you are 4 zones away from where the last time you saw a Xenomorph, you are in range, my friend. They're very fast. They act once for each point of speed in each round. So each Xenomorph gets to go 2 or 3 or 4 times. And then they have signature attacks on their own. So if you break a Xenomorph, they roll a d6 and either fall to the ground, seemingly dead, and then regain health and attack, or they're wounded. Their speed is reduced by 1, but they regain a point of health. You roll a d6 on each round. On 1 to 3, they try to get away. On a 3, they're severely wounded, cries out in agony. They immediately perform an action outside the normal order, and then either try to escape or instantly attacks the closest opponent. If it doesn't deal any damage, it dies. If it does deal damage, it regains a point of health. That's so cool. So, like, you don't know what's happening. You don't know what this crit roll is. The GM rolls this in secret. So it's like, I fire a burst of rounds into the alien's chest. Cool. It falls to the ground. All right, boys, we got it. You turn back around. It's raising up from the floor. It leaps on you, thrashing its tail. Or you shoot it. It just screams in pain and throws itself at you. It kills you and then rushes to the nearest person. Or it attempts to kill you. You hold it back, and eventually the blood loss kills it. It falls to the ground. Last breath, you kill it. It contorts in agony. It gets one last turn and then dies. Or you tear it apart, and it can only be analyzed with observation -2 because you mangled it so badly that you can now no longer tell what it is. So this is how a Xenomorph dies. The types of Xenomorph we have in this book are the Neomorph, a common name for the endoparasitic extraterrestrial organism originally encountered on Planet 4 of an uncharted system. Similar to a Xenomorph, XX121, it's a parasite delivered to the host. The Neomorph is from Covenant, right? Neomorph Alien? Oh, no, it's from... Yeah, from Covenant. It's the weird, like, long head. Oh, it's so gross. Bloodburster. Blech. Grody. Yeah, the, like, black mutagen thing. Yeah, okay, the pale one. Yeah, okay. So they're eyeless with a gray-white translucent skin, fleshy spiked tail, and a sphincter-like facial orifice. Their life cycle is broken down into 5 stages. They're genetically programmed to destroy all life, derivative of the black liquid designed by the engineers to clear a planet of indigenous life left alive after Agent AO, whatever, after the black goo killed everybody. Okay, so neomorphic egg sacs that can be destroyed with fire or made inert with liquid nitrogen. They are neomorphic motes, which are the infectious pollen. It's a microscopic insect and they avoid smoke and are killed by fire. An electrostatic arc caused by EMP or lightning can also kill them. They're spores. A blood burster, they get into your blood, and they convert your own cells into larval blood burster. If it's lodged into a body with dense muscle, it develops dorsal spine to rip itself out of you, and gross. You die if a bloodburster comes out of you. Sick. And then the juvenile neomorph is between 4 and 6 feet, and is a separate creature with its own stats and death and attacks. And then finally, the adult Neo Morph is the mature version. Any automatic weapon eventually kills it. A finishing shot to the head's a good idea. They attack even when they seem to be dead. They can terrorize you with a hiss. They can tail slash. They can do a deadly grab, a leaping attack, a throat bite, or impale you with a tail spike using 7 base dice, damage 1, armor piercing, and if it causes damage, it immediately triggers critical injury 66, killing you outright. Holy shit. Okay. An abomination, a mutation of human form brought about by a genetic acceleration. So these are like human. Oh, this is like a weird hybridization that led to the big guys dying. Yeah. This is what happens when a species gets hit, not with the like the Xenomorph thing, but when they become mutated by it. The engineers had this happen to them. Here's our critical hit table. Here we go. Okay, so that's interesting. I like that the game, this is cute. So the game doesn't give us our alien or our aliens Xenomorphs because they want you to buy the full game, right? They want you to like, oh, that's cute. I like that. I can see why they would do that. So they give us the Covenant alien, but we still have to wonder, what is the Queen like? What are the aliens like? What are all the weird alien spin-offs we got from Alien 3, like the dog alien? Yeah. Okay, and then here are all critical hit tables, and it's a pretty classic D&D or a Warhammer style critical hit table. Ruptured jugular, cracked spine, crushed skull, impaled heart, broken hand, knocked out teeth. The other kind of body horror. Ruptured intestines, etc. Yeah, the flying alien queen. Yeah. And then if you make that empathy roll after something very bad happens to you, you get a phobia, you become an alcoholic, you get nightmares, you get depression, you get drug use, you get amnesia. Pretty base, but you could definitely expand these out. And then here's our character sheet, which is actually pretty cool. It's a pretty cool character sheet. I like that. Like a data pad. Yeah, those are pretty cool. And that's it. That's it. 2 hours later and 168 pages in. That's a pretty big quick start rule set. So right now, let me see. Alien RPG. You can get your hands on that pre-release kit by pre-ordering the Alien RPG. It's a 168-page primer that we got to look at there. Pre-orders for it, I think you can go through the Fria Ligan website, and you can pick it up there. You get it for free if you pre-order it. And then there's like a bunch of different versions of the final game. And kind of my honestly, like my goal here was, I know how much people hate pre-ordering stuff. I personally don't much like it either. And I wanted everybody to get a page by page look through of exactly what they would be getting before they feel like they need to go pre-order. The worst thing is pre-ordering something and then being stuck with it if you don't like it. So let's see if we can take a little look at what, yeah, here we go. So here's the pre-order page. Here's the Fria Ligan pre-order page. This is what you get in the standard bundle. You get everything. You get a map of the universe, you get a GM screen, you get the book, you get the 2 different kinds of dice. I will probably be pre-ordering this because I like what I saw, and $100 for this whole pack is pretty good. I think that there is a limited edition version too. I think there's like an anniversary version that you can pre-order as well. Let me see if it's listed in the store. Yeah, here we go. So here's the whole store right now. Maps and markers, custom cards, whatever. But here's the anniversary version of the game, which also comes in the $127 version. This is a special edition, limited, like embossed cover version of the game. So if you want the fancier version, then this is the one. It is actually pretty cool looking. It's leatherette. It's embossed. I don't know if you care about that, but like, that's kind of cool. That's sort of cool. So yeah, the options are standard bundle, $127 bundle. What's the company bundle? This is the most expensive one. It's $238 or $234. And it comes with, what's the difference? What is this? What's this big thing? Is it an art book? Oh, it's a poster. Oh, it's a 27-inch by 40-inch poster of the cover art signed by the artist. And then you get the core book signed by the design team. Okay, so if you're like a huge fan and you want to get a copy of the signed version, then yeah, you can get this version, and it's just you're buying the poster and you're buying the signatures. Yeah, it's a super expensive like version with signatures and stuff. And yeah, I would have to imagine for $240 or $234 American dollars that the poster comes in a tube. But yeah, I feel like I will probably order, honestly, if I really, really am excited about an RPG, what I'll do is I'll buy the limited edition version of the game and another version of the core book. But since this comes with a PDF and I'm going to be playing online anyway, what I'll probably do is order just the regular standard bundle for $100. I don't really need the fancy leatherette version. I have too many leatherette game copies anyway. And then I'll just play it online with the PDF for the most part. I'll read it in physical copy and then reference it as a PDF. But what I am excited about, and I know I don't want to say 100% that this is going to happen, but I'm pretty sure it will. The cards, the map, and the tokens will all almost certainly end up as marketplace add-ons for Roll20, just like the Star Trek stuff does. Now, the pre-order here, it says it's shipping December. Shipping December of this year. So, not too long. I imagine that they'll probably have something like printed versions of the pre-release at Gen Con as promotion. I will try to play the game at Gen Con and bring back a report. But all in all, this looks like a pretty solid start. And, you know, my fear going in, I'm going to talk about two things real quick. So my fear going in is, one, that it's going to have the licensed game effect, right? That it's going to say, this is definitely an Alien game. We promise. This is an Alien game because it's got aliens in it. Here is some aliens, right? There's a picture of aliens. There's some alien stat blocks. You got some machine guns you can use, right? It's fine. But it's not really an alien game because there's no mechanisms. There's like, you gain experience for shooting aliens. However, I am bolstered by the fact that this game has distinct mechanical aspects of it that turn it into an alien game, right? There's a ton of shit in here that says, this is an alien game. Here are the mechanisms. And I feel like I would definitely rather play the cinematic mode than the campaign mode, but I don't know, maybe there's some like really cool stuff in campaign mode. Ripley is campaign mode, right? So maybe it's like you keep a PC and you shift the PCs. Because Ripley gets to be in it in each of the three things. So maybe that's how they'll do it. I'm very curious. We'll do another first look at campaign mode when the game comes out. I guess a second look. Yeah, I do like the adventure structuring thing, though. That's very cool. The goals, all of that is great. I'm very, very bolstered. The second thing that I'm excited about isn't even related to this RPG, but if Free League and Modiphius, who I kind of see as being like, they're not one company, but they influence each other. If they are capable of making a game that mechanically feels like an Alien game, maybe, just maybe, they're going to be mechanically capable of making a game that feels like Dune. Fingers crossed. So yeah, let's keep our eyes open for this stuff, and we'll see what happens. I hope that this has been entertaining. I hope it's been educational, and I hope that it's helped you decide whether or not you are interested in playing or buying or engaging with Modiphius and Fria Ligan's Alien RPG. Thanks for coming and watching, everybody. And we will see you. I think actually we're going to see you again next week for another space game. We're doing another first look. This one is a much smaller game. There's an indie debt runner sci-fi game called Offworlders that I'm very excited to take a look at. And I hope you will attend for that. As always, if you want to watch any of these streams, you want to check out any of my stuff, throw me a follow right here or down below. I have a dedicated events page. We're going to be covering a bunch of E3 stuff over the next week, like everybody else. I've got role-playing games. I've got an episode of Hot for Teacher coming up, and then we have that Offworlders first look. You can find all of that down below if you're watching on Twitch or twitch.tv/AdamKoebel/events. So that'll do it for today. Thank you for coming.